Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I want to welcome you to Dr. Boyce TV. DrBoyceTV.com is the home for intelligent Black people. So you got to be Black, you got to be intelligent or want to be intelligent. And you also have to believe Black people come first. So today we're going to talk for a few minutes about two Black women who are both intelligent in their own way, for sure, who had a little interesting disagreement on social media. Particularly involving the Black community and the Black community's role in politics. So I'm going to give you a quick perspective on this on drboycetv.com in 1 second.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.
Hey, what's going on, guys? What's going on? I hope you guys can hear me and see me okay. Put your hashtag B1 in the chat. Hashtag B1 means you're Black first. If you are Black first, put the hashtag B1 in the chat. Let me know that you're Black first. And also shout out the city you're from. Let me know what city you're coming from. I love to see where you guys are all around the world. Marie Jackson was first. Cheryl Wilson, Marie Walker, Terracotta Hughes, Yamaya Morningstar. She's already mad. Yamaya came in here mad. Shante says, when is the wedding? Can we come to the wedding? You know what, Shante? I want to invite everybody to the wedding. It's going to be in July. I'm hoping that we can get all this COVID stuff behind us. I ain't taking no vaccine, by the way. And in fact, I feel kind of sad about all the folks that are being affected by the high-paid Negroes who are running around telling Black folks to take the vaccine. I'm not going to do it, not because I don't believe the virus is real, but because I don't think that a 99% survival rate is that bad. 99.9% of us will survive the virus, and that ain't like, that's not Ebola. That's not Ebola. That's not HIV. That's not even swine flu. So don't give me no disrespect to those who are taking a different strategy, but I'm going to take my strategy because one of the things about these vaccines is that okay, wait, I hit the wrong button, guys, and so that's why I disappeared for a second. So I think I'm back. Let me know if you can hear me okay, and you can see me or see something or hear something on the screen. You can't see me. You're going to see Vicki and Jamel. Anyway, so that's what happens when you hit the wrong button and you ain't paying attention. So here's what's going on. Here's what happened with Vicki and Jemele Hill. Jemele Hill, you might know her. She's from she used to be on ESPN, and somehow something went wrong with ESPN. I can't speculate on that. I know that she is not there anymore, and I don't get mad at Black people who lose their job working for white folks. I don't think that means you're less competent or anything like that. I think Jamel knows sports very well. I like your sports commentary. And also, we've all had problems with our bosses at work. We've all had problems working for white folks. I had my issues with Syracuse University. Lord knows I did. And like the real DTS says, I'm a Jemele Hill fan. I'm a Jemele Hill fan too. I definitely am. But here's the thing. Here's what I think. We kind of need to talk about. Jemele is also very political, and I can respect it to a point, but I think sometimes we got to really sort of flesh through certain things, and we got to know the difference between white conversations and Black conversations. We have to know the difference between Black conversations and white conversations that appear to be Black conversations, but really they're white conversations in blackface. We have a lot of folks that are in what I call the Black elite. The Black elite are individuals who are, particularly those who are on TV or have important fancy jobs that were given to them by white people, like maybe working for ESPN, which gives you instant validation, which elevates you above all the people that are in the community really doing the real work for Black folks. The people that are out here really doing the real work, the Vicki Dillards of the world, people that care about black people, put black people first in everything they do, they don't get invited onto white folks' TV because white folks are scared of the Vicki Dillards. White folks are scared to hear real conversations about what black people really want because they'd rather pay a Negro to come on TV and tell black people what they're supposed to want. That is what you call paternalism, folks. That's what it's called. It's been done by many of your leading blacks, not black leaders, leading blacks. These are hand-selected black people that they put on TV. And because they have a big platform, then suddenly, somehow, some way, people decide that these individuals are worthy of some sort of respect. Well, really, all you did was you kissed enough white ass to get them to hire you for their job. Now, does that mean that you're not qualified for the job? No, you're probably quite qualified at kissing ass. You were probably an exceptional ass kisser. I'm sure you ate all the butter biscuits. I think that's appropriate. That's cool. Good for you. I'm happy for you. But don't think that somehow because white folks put you on TV, that somehow makes you more credible. In some ways, if you're not careful, it actually makes you less credible. It actually makes you less credible because process this, right? If I am a white supremacist, and if I'm a white supremacist, now mind you, you got black white supremacists and you got white supremacists. You got white people who believe that white people should be on top, and you've got black people who believe that white people should be on top. The white supremacists can't get their job done without the black white supremacists because racism works more effectively when it's in blackface. When black people are executing your racism, you're able to get away with a whole lot more than you could when white people do it. That's why rappers are able to rap about killing black men and it slips under the radar. We think that's cool. We'll sing and dance to it. But if a white man was running around talking about killing black people, we'd be screaming and hollering and that's racist. You're a white supremacist. But a rapper could be like, nigga, die. And y'all be dancing to that shit. Am I telling the truth or am I lying? Give me a yes or no if you understand where I'm coming from. You see, racism and genocide against black people is more effective when it comes from other black people. You will not die at the hands of an enemy. You're going to die at the hands of an enemy who comes dressed up as an ally. That's how you're going to go down. So, my daddy's a gangster. Let me tell you this. My daddy is a lot like Jemele Hill's daddy to a point. Jemele Hill, she's interesting. I peeped her out. I knew that she had daddy issues from just the way she talked about black men. The way she talks about black men told me instantly that she has daddy issues. And I wrote on Twitter, I said, I would love to know a little more about the relationship that she has with her father. And somebody slipped me a link and they said, read this, doc. I read it. And the first thing I read was how Jemele Hill had to work really hard to get over the fact that her father was addicted to heroin. I said, there you go. That explains a lot. I hate patriarchy. It's black men's fault. Black men are terrible. Y'all black men need to stop. Black men are really, sweetie, what you got to do is you need to go see that therapist immediately. Or as T.I. says, expeditiously. Somebody type expeditiously in the chat. Can y'all spell expeditiously? You need that therapist expeditiously so you can work through your daddy issues instead of thinking that black men are the enemy. I'm not your enemy. I'm not here to hurt you. Your daddy hurt you, and he should be ashamed of that. But all black men are not the enemy. And now that you've been given this power through white supremacy, this power of a platform, they put you on TV and everything, makes you feel like you're important and all that good stuff. And that's fine. I don't care. Now you've got this power. You're using this power sometimes, if you're not careful, in your rage, you could be using this power to try to beat other black people upside the head and get them to get in line, and to do what you want them to do. That's what it is. You get caught. I hear the rhetoric. I can spot it in a minute. And it's that Democratic Party rhetoric. Like we all need to get Trump out of office. Fuck reparations. Fuck what black people actually want. We're going to tell them what you want. Or you want to be protected from more police shootings. There's less than 50 police shootings of unarmed black men per year. It doesn't mean it's not important. It just means it's not a top priority for everybody. But it don't matter. Fuck black people. Who cares what they want? We're not going to ask black people what they want. We're going to tell them what they want. We're not asking the opinions of millions of black people. We got millions of black people out here that have a perspective in terms of what they want from their politicians. And these Negroes don't care what you think. They don't even ask you. They come and they tell you. They deliver the agenda to you. They don't ask you what the black agenda is. They deliver the black agenda to you. So, Jemele Hill's daddy had a heroin issue, and I do not make fun of that at all. I had two daddies. I had a biological father and a stepfather who raised me. And both of those men struggled with drugs. I mean, talk about just a double whammy. My daddy went to prison for drugs, and my daddy that raised me had to kick a heroin addiction when he came back from Vietnam. So Lord knows I have absolutely no desire to make fun of Jemele Hill and her daddy issues. I'm just pointing out a fact. I'm just pointing out a fact. So here's the thing. When I say my daddy, I brought my daddy up. I said my daddy's a gangster. And one thing, my daddy, he's literally killed people. My daddy's not a punk, and that's why I'm not a punk either. So my daddy is a guy that always said, you keep your enemies closer and your friends closer. And I said, what are you talking about? I said, in The Godfather, they said, keep your friends closer and your enemies closer. He said, no, you keep your friends closer because your friends are the ones that do you. It's your friends that have the opportunity to take you out. And when you are black, most of the people that will come and harm your community are not white people. Joe Biden hardly speaks of black people on any level, but he will always be happy to send a Negro minion to the back of the plantation to go take black folks out expeditiously at every available opportunity. It's always the Negro minions. And what do I mean by Negro minions? I'm talking about black folks who literally went out of their way to chastise Ice Cube because Ice Cube had the audacity to simply make a very basic, fundamentally logical statement that says, if we give you our vote, you're supposed to give us something back. By the way, I'm going to get to the Vicki Dillard thing in a minute. I just have to make sure I give you proper context. So Ice Cube goes to Biden, looks him eye to eye, and says, I'm not your boy. I'm a man. We have millions of other men and women in the community that I represent. We want to be independent. We want to be free. Well, what we can do is we can put more money into the public schools so that we can pay our friends to give you a better education. No, we don't want that. We actually like to run our own schools. Well, we're gonna create more jobs so you can have more opportunities to come work for white people. No, we don't want that. We want to run our own businesses. We want to work for each other. Oh well, we're gonna protect you from COVID. No. I know how to wear a mask and wash my hands, and I'm not afraid of a 99.9% survival rate. I'm not afraid of a virus that is not going to kill 99.9% of the population. I'm a black man. Ice Cube has dealt with more dire situations in his life. Ice Cube survived the Biggie Pac era. Where I can't imagine being a gangster rapper in the Biggie Pac era where you watching your friends get gunned down in the street. So little COVID ain't gonna really scare him. I'm just gonna tell you the truth, right? So no, he's like, no. You're telling me what you want the agenda to be. I'm telling you what I think the agenda should be. And he presents the contract for Black America. And the Negro minions are the first ones on the front lines to attack him for having the audacity to demand respect for black people, for having the audacity to say black people don't want to just get on the bus and ride in the back. Black people actually want to own the bus and drive the goddamn thing. Black people want to decide where our bus is going to go, not you. You're not handing us the agenda. We're going to hand the agenda to you. The cart is not going to drag the horse. The horse will be dragging the cart. And the Negro minions are the first ones to come out on the propaganda machine and basically do everything they could to undermine Ice Cube, do everything they could to make it look like, oh, but this dumb nigga, all he did was he got together with some other rappers and threw together a piece of paper and wrote something. Ain't even read the contract of Black America. Don't know that Derek Hamilton, myself, Dr. Claude Anderson, and other scholars with real PhDs, by the way, have actually contributed to this thing. They don't want to hear none of that. They just believe that, oh, a black man did it, so it must be garbage. But yet you ain't got nothing to say about some of these crazy, ridiculous plans coming out of the mouths of Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Donald Trump spits out the platinum plan. We knew that was bullshit. We knew that wasn't going to be actually enacted. But Joe Biden has lifted every voice, sound like a Negro spiritual. He's singing Negro spirituals because he's hoping he can lull y'all back to sleep so you won't actually ask for anything. So these people don't respect you. And they're allowed to get away with disrespect because they have Negro minions working for them. So here's the deal. So first of all, Zabak, you're going to get kicked out. So you're out of here, buddy. The other point I'm going to make to you guys is that when you're talking about the Jemele Hill versus Vicki Dillard situation, it really comes down to a divide and conquer that's been created in the community with white supremacist power structures. Jemele Hill, I guess because she's on TV, feels like my voice matters because white people said that it matters. Vicki Dillard's voice matters because black people decided that her voice matters. Black people did not. Black people can't put Jemele Hill on ESPN because black people don't own ESPN. But Vicki Dillard was picked by the black community. She's an elected delegate of black people because she was actually selected and supported by the black community. That means a lot. That goes a lot further than what you're seeing in terms of some of this nonsense you see on TV. So let me read to you some of um what Vicki said and what Vicki said to me and what Jemele Hill said. And I'm actually going to figure out what's going on with this. There's somebody here that keeps spamming the chat. So I'm going to make somebody a moderator. And when I make you a moderator, I'm going to go ahead and help let you guys get this guy out of here. So do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button while I do this. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to do some Negro annihilation right quick and get rid of these buffoons that are in the chat acting a fool. The deeper issue is that you're dealing with, among other things, tremendous voter suppression occurring in the black community. And this voter suppression is not the typical voter suppression that they talk to you about. You're trained to only see voter suppression when it comes from Republicans. Voter suppression is actually occurring most from black Democrats who basically pressure black people into voting against their own interests. The voter suppression that occurs in America are people who say, we're going to fight like hell for you to have the right to vote, but I'm going to tell you who to vote for. And if you don't vote for who I tell you to vote for, then F you, screw you, you're an idiot. We're going to discredit you. We're going to cancel you, whatever. Right. So that's voter suppression isn't just denying someone the right to vote. Voter suppression is when you give them the right to vote, but you force them to vote for who you want them to vote for, or you pressure them in such a way that they're led to feel like somehow they're going to be attacked and ostracized the same way that they ostracized Ice Cube when Ice Cube even had the audacity to just sit down and have a meeting with Donald Trump. He literally sat down and just had a meeting with Donald Trump. Now, Jamel interviewed LeBron James. He was all Team Biden. He was all speaking the party line. Unfortunately, LeBron is as great of a guy as he is. He probably needs to be politically educated. This is like black politics 2.0. A lot of people are still in the first grade when it comes to black politics. Black politics 1.0 is basically white liberalism in blackface. It is we need your ancestors died for you to vote. It is get your booty to the polls, y'all. It is let's stroll to the polls and take our souls to the polls after church so that we can say we voted. It is I'm gonna go vote. And of course, I'm gonna vote for a Democrat because I'm black, and I'm gonna put on a button on my shirt that says I voted. I can't tell you what I voted for. I can't tell you what I'm voting for, but I can tell you what I'm voting against. Right? It is. I hate Trump so much, and I'm so scared of a Trump presidency that I'm not gonna ask for anything when I elect the politician because all you need to do for me is get Trump out of office. If you do that, then you are my hero. If you get Trump out of so all I need you to do, if I'm a Republican, if I'm a white racist Republican, and I want to control, not Republican, scratch that, a Democrat, the white racist Democrats, because there's racism in both parties. If I'm a white racist Democrat, all I got to do is create a problem and then pretend to solve it. And then what that'll do is that will deflect you from asking for solutions to your actual issues. right? So what I do is I go and I take this thing called coronavirus, and it's out there, right? And it's killed a few people. So I'm gonna make this the biggest thing in the world. I'm gonna talk about it in the media every day. I'm gonna tell you about how many cases there are. We're gonna talk about all the health disparities in the black community, how black people are dying more than other people. And I'm gonna make this seem like this is your greatest problem. Your greatest problem is not all the effects of slavery. Your greatest problem is not torn down communities that haven't been rebuilt. Your greatest problem is not the fact that your babies aren't being educated. Your greatest problem is not that little babies are being shot up in the hood every single day. Your greatest problem is that you don't have any money to get jobs. Your greatest problem is not that your businesses can't get funding. No, your greatest problem is COVID, even though 99.9% of you are not going to die from COVID, even though 99.9% of you are going to survive, I want to convince you that this is your greatest problem because that gives me an easy hurdle. I have literally alley-ooped the ball to myself, and now I get to slam dunk it, and then you're going to give me 2 points because I pretended to score points for you when I really didn't score shit. That's politics. That's black politics 1.0. That's first grader politics. So a lot of black commentators on TV who are selected by white folks do first grader black politics. They don't know nothing about no black independence. They don't know anything about challenging authority. They don't know anything about truly challenging white supremacy because white supremacy loves them so much that white supremacy is the reason they're on TV in the first place. Why would you bite the hand that is feeding you all the biscuits and raccoon soup that you can ask for? Why would you fight? Why would you bite the hand that feeds you? Why not allow them to continue to leave black people behind and oppress the black community when you're getting rewarded for that? So here's the deal. I'm gonna read what Jamel wrote about Vicki Dillard. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button. Please hit the notification bell and subscribe to the channel if you like open-minded, intelligent black discourse. If you don't, then you should probably leave. So here's what she said. She said, Vicki Dillard, if your goal was to get me to consider another point of view, you failed miserably. I could do without those tired, lame insults. Things I doubt you'd ever say to my face anyway. We have to be able to have discourse without calling each other sellouts and trash insults. Can you guys hear me now? I went out for a second. I don't know what happened. I know, right? I'm sure it got flagged. I have no idea what just happened. But anyway, let me just start where I don't know exactly what you lost and what you heard. But basically, with Jemele Hill's statement, did you hear Jamel's statement? Give me a yes or no if you heard her statement. Basically, her statement was insinuating one that she was very disappointed in the insults that she felt that Vicki was laying on her. Vicki's pretty assertive. Vicki's very clear about who she is and what she stands for. Then she also mentioned that a lot of people don't understand how the government works. So I think that she was referencing Barack Obama's interview he did today on the Breakfast Club. Now the thing, so you didn't hear the statement, okay? Yeah. So basically, the Barack Obama's interview on the Breakfast Club, which we actually talked about this morning, was one where he seemed to feel that he needed to give black people kind of a civics lesson on how the government works. And I get that, right? I get what he's doing. He's basically saying, look, I can't I can't, do everything as a president. As a president of the United States, we have to sort of modify your expectations to ensure that they're consistent with reality. I completely get that. I completely get that. And I think that in conjunction with modifying expectations of what you expect from politicians, my argument has been that, if you're going to lower what black people should expect from you, then you need to lower what you expect from black people. You are expecting black people to give you everything, but you're coming back with excuses on why you can give them nothing. So think about it like this. Imagine your politicians are supposed to be your elected representatives, almost like employees, right? They're there to work for you. Do you get what I'm saying? Give me a yes or no if you get what I'm saying. So your politicians work for you. So imagine if you had a business and you hired an employee and you ask the employee, I need you to work 40 hours a week. And they say, okay, if you want me to work 40 hours a week, then give me $1,000 a week. And you say, okay, well, that's a lot of money, but I'll come up with $1,000 a week. And then they only work 5 hours a week. And you're like, wait a minute, I don't understand. You told me that you were going to work 40 hours a week if I paid you $1,000 a week. Now I paid you the $1,000. I paid you in advance. I did everything I was supposed to do. Now I need you to give me 40 hours a week. So imagine they come back and they say, oh, we need to modify your expectations. I think you're expecting, quite a lot from me and more than I can actually deliver because I can't really work for you for 40 hours a week because I got to work for Mr. Smith down the street and I got to work for Mrs. Cunningham around the corner. And then John Wilson over here, he needs me. So I got to go spend time at their house. So what you do is you don't then turn around and say, okay, no problem. I get it. You can only work 5 hours a week. I'll keep paying you $1,000 a week. No, what you say is, okay, so since you're working for Mrs. Wilson and Mr. Smith and John Cunningham or whatever the hell his name is, then let those motherfuckers pay you. Let those people pay you, and I'm going to reduce your pay. Instead of giving you $1,000 a week, I'm going to give you $100 a week so that we can be even Steven, so that you will get exactly what you're giving me. That is called reciprocity. That is called equality, right? But they don't believe in equality. They believe that black people are supposed to give them everything, and they just give you the spare parts. You're supposed to show up and get them, like literally be the voting block that tips the scale in their favor in every election, and then they act like they don't have time for you. Like that right there, Malcolm X was right when he said that voting for the Democratic Party, voting for a party that does not have time for you after you put them in office time after time, doesn't just make you a chump, it makes you a traitor to your race. That is a very strong statement, but I will tell you what, I'm going to go Malcolm on this statement and say that I think it's okay to say to these folks on TV, when you are demanding that black people vote for somebody who ain't doing nothing for black people, you are a traitor to your race. You are a traitor right now, buddy. I mean, I'm sorry, but maybe they can explain it. Maybe they can give me another interpretation. Maybe I'm being too harsh. Maybe Doc, maybe you need to kind of calm down because this is kind of going to hurt some people's feelings. And no, tell me why you're not. Tell me why you're not. Tell me why in the hell black people should be okay with you just telling them that they're supposed to just vote just because they're supposed to be exercising some political right and you're not giving them anything in exchange for that. You're not even giving them logical reasons why they should show up to the polls. You're only using emotion and fear and pressure and everything else. Seriously, what's going on here? I mean, which part of the equation am I missing? How dumb do I need to be for all of this to make sense? Please tell me, because I don't know how to do it. So when I think about Jemele Hill, and I saw what she did during the election, I saw her behavior. Her behavior was, honestly, in many cases, I felt like it was atrocious. I felt like a lot of what she did was just unacceptable. I as a black man, I felt insulted. You're sitting on your little throne that, white folks gave you a little throne at ESPN or whatever, make you feel special. So you're out here you're basically using a white man's baseball bat to crack black people upside the head. That's what you're doing. You don't feel like you're doing. You feel like you're an empowered woman who's using your voice and being a strong feminist and all whatever other nonsense they put into your head. But really, what you're doing is you are abusing your own people with the power that was handed to you by white supremacist organizations. That's what you're doing. Now, if you want to rectify that, then you know what you should probably do? Maybe instead of fighting with the Vicki Dillards of the world, maybe try to find a way to extend an olive branch and maybe learn from the Vicki Dillards of the world. Maybe instead of thinking that because the white man gave you a job that you are supposed to be the teacher, maybe the teachers are supposed to come from the community. You see, this is the key idea. Pay attention now. In statistics, they have a term called causality. Causality. The question, which is basically, if the horse is dragging the cart, should the cart be dragging the horse or should the horse be dragging the cart? When it comes to the black agenda, who should be driving the black agenda? Should black people be telling the white people in office what the black agenda is going to be? Or should white people in the Oval Office be telling black people what they believe the agenda should be? What should it be? Because I'm going to tell you like this. Back a few years ago, I was furious when I used to get calls from some dodo in the Obama administration, some dude who had some job, and I guess he felt like a fancy Negro because he was hired in the White House. I don't know who the hell this guy was, but he started calling me because I was an influencer. He saw that I had hundreds of thousands of black people online that listened to what I had to say, and he mentioned that, and I said, yeah, they listen to me because they know that I'm here to try to tell them the truth. Right? They maybe they don't listen to you because maybe you be out here lying to them. They're not stupid. So this guy calls me, and I'm thinking maybe this was the Obama administration's effort to find out what black people want so that they could go back and work diligently to deliver what black people are ordering. But it was exactly the opposite. He was calling me to tell me what they were going to do and trying to get me to go back and get black people on board. And I said, I'm not doing that because and I know that that's some bullshit. How are you going to tell black people what they need? Seriously, if my woman is mad at me and about to divorce me, and because I'm not treating her right, and I say, well, somebody says, well, why don't you find out what's gonna make her happy? And I say, oh, I know what the bitch need. She needs some more penis. That's what she need, and she need a new vacuum cleaner. That's what she need. And I'm like, baby, here I know you upset and everything, so I got you a new vacuum cleaner, and I got you a double dose of penis, and I got you some peanut butter sandwiches, and I got you a big screen TV. So that's not how I would approach that woman if I truly care about her. If I really love her, I'm not gonna show up with what I think she needs. I'm gonna show up and find out what she needs. I'm gonna do something that the black elite does not do with the masses, and that white politicians like Joe Biden do not do with the masses. I would listen to her, and I would say, baby, what do you need? Like, how can I become worthy of your love? I am truly sorry for what I've done. I want to make things right. Tell me what I can do. You're the teacher. I'm the student. I'm here to listen. How can I do that? Rarely, if ever, have they ever listened to the black community. All they do is exactly a little bit of what Obama did today. Now, I don't dislike Obama. I told you, I think Obama's smooth as hell, smart as hell. He's one of the best speakers I've ever seen. But I swear, if he goes out and gives another lecture to what black people need to do that's more appropriate and how black people need to understand this and understand that, I swear to God, I'm going to go crazy. This man loves to lecture black people. And I'm sitting there thinking, who made you the teacher of what black people need? Who made you to process this for a moment? I'm about to explain to you why about 90% of your people are white supremacists. Who gave you the authority? Now, remember, that's the question. Who gave you the authority to come in here and think that you have the right to come teach black people? Because the show is hell ain't because you've been spending all your time in the black community. It show as hell ain't because you in these streets really like doing what's best for the people. It ain't because you're in tune with all the issues that black. I mean, you made it clear that you were the president of all of America. So maybe if you got to go, give a lecture to other politicians on how to become president, you could do that. But how are you lecturing black people on what black people need? Who gave you the authority? Well, the reason that people like him or Jemele Hill or others, Negroes on TV, think they have the authority is because white supremacists gave them the authority. White folks gave them that validation. And because they got that validation and they don't believe black people have any validation, they feel that they have the authority to come in and lecture you. That's why Jemele Hill feels like she's better than Vicki Dillard. But Jemele Hill was selected by white folks. Vicki Dillard was selected by the people. The people are the ones who support Vicki. When Vicki speaks, real people with real issues listen to her because they're like, this lady makes some sense. I really like what she has to say, right? That's why they follow her. Well, how did you get your 1.5 million whatever Twitter followers, Jamil? You got your Twitter followers because some white dude at ESPN decided to give you a damn job and throw you up on TV to talk about sports for a while, and then you got political, and now suddenly you're supposed to be relevant. Well, you're a paper soldier. You're not a person who was vetted by the community. You are not a black leader. You're just you're a sports commentator with a big Twitter following who loves to have white people cheer you on, and also white liberals in blackface cheer you on as you go out here and speak and scream and try to talk down on the rest of the black community and explain why black people are wrong. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, do me a favor, guys. Hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. And I didn't really mean to sound like I was being this harsh on Jemele. I probably sounded pretty harsh. And because I brought up her daddy issues and everything. And I don't take any of that back. I really think this poor lady has daddy issues. I think that's why she has the problems with black men. I really do. I believe, and that's the thing. Like, I mean, think about this. Imagine if you had millions of black men out here that had no mommies or they hated their mothers. What kind of bastards would we be if we all hated our mothers? We wouldn't like our opinions about women could not be trusted because they would be completely biased. And then imagine if black women were the pariah of society and blamed for every problem. And because I have mommy issues, I'm going around blaming black women for every issue I have. And the rest of the world is validating me and cheering me on and saying, yeah, that's right, boys. Those black women suck. Right. Like that's pretty much what has happened with certain individuals, particularly some, not all, some black feminists. Some black feminists, if you look in their track record, many of them, not all of them, but many of them have severe issues with their father. And so that allows them, they then go through life, they're going through their pain and their hurt, and black people don't get therapy. We think that we're all fine. And so next thing you know, you're just mad and you don't know why you're mad. And somebody says, well, the reason you're mad is because black men suck. Black men are terrible. Black men have always done you dirty and done you wrong. Black men are the reason that you don't have a husband. So instead of looking at things like Joe Biden's crime bill, which that's probably what took your husband away, to be honest with you. Joe Biden's crime bill incarcerated hundreds of thousands, if not over 1 million black men. That undermined the black family. That destroyed, that destabilized the black family in a way that won't be fixed for the next 50 to 100 years. So the destabilization of the black family that occurred with Master Biden is not something that you're trained to think about because you're doing black politics 1.0. Instead, because you haven't thought these things through, you just look at the black man and he's not there. He wasn't there for you, and it must be his fault. Something must be wrong with him. So you join the chorus of all the people that already hate black men, already have fundamental disrespect with black men. Kamala Harris also has daddy issues. Processes. Remember, her dad wrote that article about her. Dads don't go out of their way to undermine their daughter's presidential campaigns unless there's some real bad blood. I didn't get that. I didn't understand when he did that. And I hate the fact that he did that. But that pretty much shows that her relationship with her father is pretty bad. So this woman who has this horrible relationship with her father, it's not a surprise that she feels that black men should be dismissed and disrespected and that black men don't really matter. So what I will say to you is that if you really look at the tea leaves and you really add up the pieces, when I see somebody say crazy stuff, I always read their Wikipedia bio. I like to kind of know who they are, how they grew up, where they grew up, all these other things. So here's what you're getting in America, right? When it comes to politics, you're getting a lot of fake Negroes. You're getting a lot of fake black people like Kamala Harris and Barack Obama who do not understand the black experience because if they were truly black, if they were truly connected and deeply rooted in the tradition of foundational black Americans, neither one of these Negroes would have gotten elected. Neither one of them. Neither one of these black people would have gotten elected. And Kamala Harris, I mean, honestly, she's like a step over from a Rachel Dolezal. That's just what it is. I'm looking for the evidence that Kamala on any level is connected to blackness. I know her dad was from Jamaica, but he wrote an article saying that his family owned slaves. So I don't know what the fuck that means, right? We know she's not foundational black American, but that doesn't that doesn't discredit her or dismiss her as someone who could be a potential ally. But it does say that there was a whole illusion created around this idea that somehow she's a black woman just like you. She ain't like you. She's not a black woman like you. Valerie Jarrett, who worked right next to Obama, ain't a black woman like you. Kamala Harris's mama was from India. Your mama influences who you are heavily. Kamala Harris is an Indian. What's her name? Valerie Jarrett might have been African American, But Valerie Jarrett, I think she grew up in Iran or something. That's not a black experience that most people can relate to. Most of us didn't grow up in Iran. If you did not grow up in Iran, type yes in the chat. Everybody in the building who did not grow up in Iran, maybe it wasn't Iran, maybe it was another country. It was something weird like that, where Valerie Jarrett grew up like in overseas. If you did not grow up in Iran, say yes in the chat. Barack Obama grew up in, I think he lived in Hawaii and like, I don't know if it was Indonesia and all this other stuff. That's not a black experience. That's not a black experience. So what I'm really trying to say to you is that we've never had a black president. And we've never had a black vice president. We haven't. When you talk about what blackness means, I'm talking about somebody who grows up in Chicago or Philadelphia and lived in the hood and had two African-American parents or two foundational black parents who were descendants of slaves who really went through all the processes of being black. People like that don't get elected because there's something that about that sort of like light-skinned, high yellow foreign Negro that is acceptable relative to, those of us who are just regular old black people who just grew up right here in America. There is a difference, and people see that difference, and they elect based on that difference. Because if Barack Obama had come in there talking that Boyce Watkins shit, ain't no way on earth he wouldn't have got past first base. They wouldn't elect him to run the local library. And by the way, I do have more education than Barack Obama, just in case you're wondering. Just for the record, just so we can defeat the illusion that somehow it's credentials and skill and education that makes a difference. No, it was that David Axelrod and his buddies and their billion-dollar donors said, okay, this guy is great because he's acceptable. He fits. He's half white. He sounds a certain way. He carries himself a certain way. He has a certain background. He relates to people in a certain way. That's why he's going to be positioned to possibly be the next president. We can get away with pretending to elect a black person without actually electing a real one, right? So when Obama gets in office, the whole 8 years he's there, every time black economics comes up, there's nobody there to really address that issue. Every time they talk about black unemployment and they claim to have a meeting to discuss black unemployment, he doesn't bring in economists. He's got Dr. Claude Anderson right there in D.C. on speed dial, ready to come in on a second's notice. But no, he brings in Al Sharpton for the 127th time. Why? Well, because he wants to pretend to be solving the problem without actually solving it. That's why, years later, now that, with this last election, you saw the black man being constantly attacked and everything else. And people are mad at the black man because we're not going along with the okie doke. Well, you know what? That's just what it's going to be. So now what's going to happen is the party's going to pretty much walk away from the black man, and they're going to convince as many black women as possible to do the same. Well, why wouldn't you do that? Some black women are mad at black men. Some women are like Jemele Hill. They grew up with a daddy who was hooked on heroin, and they've been pissed at black men since they were 5. So why wouldn't they be loyal participants in your army of drones designed to go out and continue your Hitler-like Biden-built process for the extermination and the annihilation of black men and the black family? If you don't believe me, then go look at that Biden crime bill. Go listen to some of his speeches and listen to how this man on an industrial, systematic scale wanted to exterminate hundreds of thousands of people. He spoke specifically about over 100,000 people that are out there that must be removed from society. And he specifically went out of his way to state that he specifically did not care if they grew up in difficult circumstances. He specifically did not care if they were worthy of rehabilitation. He specifically did not care what the circumstances were. He just felt that they needed to serve 85% of their time and be removed from society and be given sentences where you're doing 85% of a 120-year sentence. That is what he did to some of those black men. He did that. And then they turn to you, and it's the ultimate insult when they're asking you to vote for that. They're asking you to vote for that. If that's not white supremacy, I don't know what is. White supremacy is basically the idea that white people should have privileges that you don't have. Well, people like Joe Biden have the privilege of forgiveness and redemption that you will never give to a black man. Some of these women, the Jemele Hills, can't forgive a black man for nothing. Black man stepped on her toe in 1998. She pissed off 22 years later, right? They can't forgive black men for shit, but you're going to forgive a man who went out of his way to use the power of the state to exterminate black families and black people and black men on an industrial scale that hasn't been seen since the reign of Adolf Hitler. But there's nothing to see here. But yet you want to convince me that coronavirus is the scariest thing in the world. But yet you're telling me that the man who wanted to exterminate and probably caused the deaths of tens of thousands of black people is okay, that's my buddy. But yet I'm supposed to be scared to go outside of my house because of this virus. Stop playing with me. Shut up. Just shut up. So if you want to make things right, then go start talking to the people that are actually in the street really doing the work. Go talk to the people that are really in the community and let them fucking talk. Let them lead the conversation. Go if you talk to Vicki Dillard, I'm sorry. If Jamel talks to Vicki, and I hope they have a conversation. I don't know if they will or not. I don't really care. Vicki's gonna shine regardless. Vicki she's the sun. She shines and she ain't gotta fight you. She's just gonna shine. Right. So Vicki's gonna shine regardless. But here's the thing: if she has a conversation with Vicki, she needs to sit back and be the student and let Vicki be the teacher. And then maybe you can find some common ground and compromise, because you know and I know that they have been doing us dirty since the very beginning of time. Malcolm X spoke 60 years ago about how they were doing us dirty back then, and he could have gave that same speech today, because some of our people are our enemies. Some of our people have been basically armed and weaponized to attack other black people. That's what their job is. That's what they're put in position to do. That's why when a black person pisses off Joe Biden, when a black person pisses off, or when a black person, Cornel West, pissed off Barack Obama, they did the same tactic. Barack did not address Cornel directly, because why would the president address a Negro? Why would the president of the United States address just some black person who's actually speaking on behalf of black people? You don't matter. You ain't nothing. What gives you the what gives you the right? Right. So what they did was they sent Negro minions after Cornel West. But what they did was they also did what the United States does whenever they want to support a rebel group to overthrow a government. Whenever they want to overthrow a government that is not working in their interests, they will go and they will fund a rebel group. They will find their biggest enemy. They will fund that group, give them money. They will give them weapons and artillery, everything that they need to launch a coup in that country so they can take over the country and basically push their agenda. So with the black community, they see you as a country that's similar to what Libya was with Gaddafi. Gaddafi, before he was killed by Obama's team, Gaddafi was trying to liberate Africa. Gaddafi was not on the United States agenda. Gaddafi was not doing what they wanted him to do. He was not going to be a puppet. So what they did was they went and they found Gaddafi's biggest enemies. They gave them the weapons that they needed to take him out. And next thing you know, Gaddafi's gone and they get to do whatever they want. So that's what they did with Cornel West. They said, this guy's speaking up too much. They did that with Ice Cube. They said these guys are speaking up too much. And instead of actually having the president himself directly address these individuals, they sent Negro minions. In the case of Cornel West, it was Michael Eric Dyson and Melissa Harris Perry. And they armed and weaponized the minions by giving them big platforms. They gave them space in the Atlantic. The Atlantic magazine. The Atlantic magazine is a white liberal publication that's often used to pursue political agendas. And they wrote big, long articles in the Atlantic to attack Cornel West. Did not give Cornel the opportunity to rebut. Not to my knowledge. They didn't give him the opportunity to respond, right? They just gave Dyson and I believe Perry as well the opportunity to write long articles discrediting Cornel West, because he was liberating black people in a way that they were not following the agenda. So the same thing is true with Ice Cube. When Ice Cube comes along, Biden says nothing about Ice Cube. He does not address Ice Cube directly, because that's a policy. What you do is you don't address somebody who's sort of beneath you, so to speak. So instead, they send the Negro minions. They send the Jemele Hill types that'll go out here and basically attack Ice Cube, almost beat him the same way an overseer would beat a field slave when he got out of line and wanted to go after the master. And so basically, what I'm saying is that you have people that really aren't your friend. You have people out here that are just doing things that are harmful to black people, and I don't know what way there is around it. All I know is that if you keep not talking about reparations in an authentic way, and you keep on trying to shush black people who are sick and tired of the bullshit, then you're going to keep getting called out by people like Tariq Nasheed. You're going to get called out by Vicki Dillard. You're going to get called out by me. You're going to get called out by Jason Black. And believe me, these people are not going away. I mean, unless they change the law and somehow shut down social media, these people have hundreds of thousands of black people that love and follow them because they're saying something that black people have been dying to hear. Give me a yes or no. How many of you watch black people on TV and feel like you can't relate to the Negroes on TV? Like, do you ever watch CNN and just say, like, where do they get these black people? Like, they must have come from outer space. Like, who are these Negroes? Give me a yes or no if you've ever felt that way. Or you watch The View or The Real or The Talk and all sorts of, and you're just like, I don't even know who these people like. These people, these are not the black people I grew up with. Like, where do they get these black? They go to Mars to pick up Negroes. Like, what are they? What is going on here? Does anybody ever feel that way? Right? Well, that's because it's all deliberate. There's certain kinds of black people they do not allow into those platforms, and they don't even want to hear their voice. They don't even want to hear what they have to say. Think about this. Look at what they did with the Farrakhan. And that, by the way, that's another little issue. Jemele Hill went out of her way to really attack Louis Farrakhan again, using power handed to her by her white overseers. She then goes and decides, I'm going to go take out a man that black people love, right? Not ask black people's permission because I'm being an independent white feminist who can go and speak truth to power, right? That's what I'm doing. I'm being a good feminist, right? Again, white liberalism in blackface. I've seen it 1,000 times, and I'm going to go attack Farrakhan because I somehow have the authority. And I'm like, who gave you the fucking authority? You do not have the authority to even speak to Farrakhan. Farrakhan was working on behalf of black people before you were even born. He was working on behalf of black people before, probably when your parents were children. Like, shut up, just sit down. You can't. What makes you think that because some white folks put you on TV that somehow you can go challenge respected and storied leaders within the black community? This does not mean that everybody has to love Farrakhan. I know people have some disagreements with him, and I think it's your right to do that, absolutely. But at the end of the day, like, what, you acting like y'all on the same level? You know, Angela Rye, when she has some stuff to say about Farrakhan, what makes you think y'all on the same level? What happened in the black community that gave you the authority to think that you on the same level with a man who's been fighting for black people for 60, 70 years? Like, where did you get this illusion from? I'm gonna tell you where they get the illusion. They get it because of the same way many of your leading blacks are selected by white supremacists, and they say, okay, we've got the money, we've got the power, we've got the TV networks. We're going to grab this Negro, we're going to put them on TV, and then we're going to tell everybody that this person's a black leader. And that's and so people like that, you have to really ask yourself. That's the question to ask yourself whenever you see people like that talking: is who gave you the authority? Where did your authority come from? The people I trust are the people who got their authority from the community, and because they're with the community and they're doing the work. It's no different from, if you think about the black community like a child, and the child has two parents, one custodial parent and a non-custodial parent. And the parent that has custody is with the child every day, feeding the child every day, loving the child when they're sick, taking care of the child when they need help, and there every single day. And then the other parent only shows up at Christmas and birthdays. Well, who should the child respond to? Who has the most authority with that child? It's the parent who took care of them. That's what it is. So with the black community, you got Negro politicians who say, well, I'm not the president of black people, and I can't. And then Kamala Harris said, well, it's not like I'm going to sit up here and say I'm going to do something only for black people. And that's fine. Okay, so what you're saying is that you are not a custodial parent. You are not a custodial factor in the black community. You're not giving black people 100%. You're giving black people about 1%. Okay, fine. Then guess what? Black people will give you 1%. Right? You give 1% to us. We're going to give 1% to you. Now, the people we're going to give 100% to might be somebody like, I don't know, a Professor James Small, just for example, who is with black folks all the time, thinking of black people, about black people all the time, concerned about black people all the time, or a Louis Farrakhan, or maybe a Dr. Claude Anderson, or a Julianne Malveaux, or whomever, right? We're going to give respect to the black people who really are there for black people. Right? That it only makes sense. This is only logical. This is simple. The reason the logic sounds radical is because your relationship with white supremacy is not a logical relationship. It is an illogical relationship. It's an ugly entanglement that you've been involved with for a very long time, to the point that the things that are stupid are the things that make sense to you. And the things that make sense sound stupid. The things that make sense sound crazy, they sound radical, whatever, because you fundamentally deep down do not believe that you deserve to be considered equal to white people. So if a Jemele Hill wants to talk about a Vicki Dillard, that's fine. But when y'all have that conversation about what black people want and black people need, You have to let Vicki, be the teacher in that particular conversation, because you're doing politics 1.0. You're doing white liberalism and blackface. Every one of your talking points is as fucking predictable as sunshine in Florida during the summertime. You know the sun is always going to come out, or you know what the weather's going to feel like. You know it's going to be hot. It's very predictable. So you, and what you say is predictable because that's what everyone else is saying. That's what all of your friends are saying. That's what Joe Biden and his camp are saying. That's what that big linebacker chick, whatever her name is, that was tackling people for Joe Biden, was saying. Simone Sanders, when she's talking about how she hates black men because they're messing up her money or whatever it is that she thinks we're doing, right? So you sound alike. And here's the thing: we've heard that before. And the other thing is, we know it does not work. We know that you do not achieve any significant progress for black people. We know that when you get done going to the White House, making your money, getting your little bread, getting your little private, getting your rides on Air Force One, and getting your butt tickled because you somehow feel like, mama, I made it because I went to Brown University and now I work at the White House. We know that at the end of the day, the black community is still going to be in tatters. It's still going to be torn apart. Because why? Well, because you're not really doing no work. Maybe optimistically, I might even try to conclude that perhaps you think that you're doing work. Perhaps you think that you're benefiting black people, but you're not. The data shows you're not. So why don't you sit down and listen to people that really have their finger on the pulse of black people, who can really tell you, no, that's not what black people really want. This is what they actually want, and actually learn and be the student instead of being the damn teacher. And then you go to your boss, Daddy Biden. You know, I know Joe Biden. He's like your Santa Claus. Like, y'all love him. Y'all call him Uncle Joe. Some of these retarded Negroes calling him Uncle Joe or whatever it is, right? I'm not gonna call nobody my uncle when you done killed 100,000 black people. I'm sorry, you ain't uncle nothing. If I see you on the street, when we gonna fight, right? Like you can't. I'm sorry. I don't. Maybe I sound radical for saying this, but if you out here killing black people, you're not my friend. From where I come from, people like that are called racists. So, but I guess where you come from, they're called allies or whatever. I have no idea what planet you're on, but whatever that planet is, whatever you've been smoking to make you think that this guy's your buddy, I don't want none of that shit. I'm not smoking that. But I will say that if you are trying to make progress in those conversations, then you get real people in the room that can really solve the problem. Like, so for example, if you're trying to solve the black economic problem, how about you get some real black economists in the room who really have their finger on the pulse of black people? You haven't done it because you're scared of that conversation. They are afraid of the day when a significant number of black people start asking real questions and asking for real solutions and start really giving true scrutiny to the fact that 50 years of Democratic leadership hasn't given us hardly, a damn thing. Hasn't given us hardly shit. If you go back to 1968 and you move forward to the year 2020, black people are pretty much in the same damn place we were when you convinced us that it made sense to go into somebody's lunch counter and get our ass beat up so that we could go and give a white man our money. Like, ever since you told us that we should go get our ass beat just for the right to give white people our money, we've been going backwards ever since. So at the end of the day, I think black people should detach from all that. I support Vicki on this, of course. Vicki's my friend too. Of course, that makes me biased. But I will say that, I don't understand where Jemele or anybody will be coming from when you think that there's something simply wrong for black people demanding something for black people. If you can't deliver, then what you're saying doesn't even matter. So anyway, so I'm gonna get out of here, guys. Thank you for listening, and do me a favor. If you want to get a free copy of my book, it's called "It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar." It focuses on wealth, education, family, and community, what I call the new paradigm model for how we can build a sustainable community. Go to allblackeconomics.com. The book is totally free. You can get an e-copy totally free, allblackeconomics.com. Also, text the word "voice" to 31996 if you want to get text notifications a couple times a week when I go live. That's text the word "voice" to 31996. Also, hit the thumbs up button, share, subscribe button on your way out if you haven't done it yet. And I'm out of here, guys. So I see a lot of different comments. Charles Cook says I'm whining. Well, fuck you, Charles. Let's see. Liverlad says Democrats should be criticized, but Republicans much worse. Home of overt racist. Yeah, I don't do lesser of two evils. That's for buffoons. That's like white politics 1.0, or that's where you're doing first grader politics. First grader politics is, well, you know, I'm not happy with the Democrats, but those gosh darn Republicans, that darn Donald Trump, we got to do anything to get Trump out of office, because Trump get elected, we all gonna die. He gonna come kill us all. We ain't gonna make it. And I don't do that. We don't do that bug ass slave routine. So anyway, I'm gonna get out of here, guys. Have a good night, and I'll talk to you soon. Love you. Peace.